The music had faded, the laughter had disappeared into the cold night air, and the once crowded house now stood in an almost painful silence. Paper cups and half-melted ice sat forgotten on tables, balloons drooped toward the floor, and the echo of a celebration that had just ended seemed to linger in every corner. I was standing near the doorway, ready to leave like everyone else had, when she suddenly looked at me across the empty room. Her eyes carried a strange mixture of courage and fear, and then she said the words that made my heart stop beating for a moment. She had been waiting for this moment. Before we continue, take a second to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel if you believe in kindness and second chances, because stories like this remind us how powerful those things truly are. My name is Nathan Walker, and this happened 3 years ago in a quiet neighborhood outside Denver, Colorado. The party had been thrown for my best friend, Marcus Turner, who had just landed his dream job in Seattle. Everyone from our old college circle had shown up to celebrate him before he moved away. The house had been loud, warm, and full of life just hours earlier. But by the time midnight arrived, people began to leave one by one, their laughter fading into the distance. There was only one reason I stayed longer than everyone else. Her name was Olivia Carter. Olivia had been part of our friend group since college, but to me she had always been something more. Not in the dramatic, movie-like way people describe love, but in a quiet, steady way that had grown inside me over the years. She was the kind of person who remembered everyone's birthday, who helped strangers carry groceries, who stayed late to clean up messes no one else noticed. But life had never really allowed our paths to connect in the way I secretly hoped. 3 years earlier, I had almost told her how I felt. Back then we were walking along the river after a study session, the city lights reflecting on the water. I remember the exact moment when the words were sitting on the edge of my lips. But just as I gathered the courage, she mentioned she had started seeing someone named Ryan. The words I wanted to say quietly disappeared that night, and I buried them deep inside my heart. After graduation, life scattered us all in different directions. I stayed in Colorado working long shifts at a construction company after my father got sick and I had to help support my family. Olivia moved to another part of the city and started working at a small nonprofit organization helping struggling families. Our conversations became rare and short, usually limited to birthdays or quick messages in group chats. But every now and then, I would see a photo of her online or hear about something kind she had done for someone, and a quiet ache would return to my chest. At Marcus's farewell party, seeing Olivia again felt like stepping back into a memory I had tried hard to forget. She looked different somehow, not just older but stronger, like someone who had walked through storms and learned how to stand taller afterward. We spoke briefly during the party, mostly about Marcus, old college stories, and the strange way life turns out differently than expected. Still, there was something in the way she looked at me that night. Something deeper than casual conversation. As the last guests left and Marcus went upstairs to pack the final boxes for his move, the house grew quiet. I began helping Olivia gather empty cups and fold chairs, neither of us saying much. The silence between us felt heavy, but not uncomfortable. When everything was finally cleaned up, we both stood near the doorway. I grabbed my jacket, preparing to leave. That's when she looked at me with an intensity one had never seen before. Her voice was soft but steady as she admitted she had been waiting for this moment. At first, I didn't understand what she meant. My mind searched through years of memories, trying to catch up with what she was saying. Then she slowly began explaining something that completely changed how I saw the past. She told me that night by the river 3 years earlier had stayed with her too. She had noticed the way I hesitated before speaking, the way my eyes carried words that never came out. At the time, her life had been complicated and messy, and she wasn't ready to face feelings she didn't fully understand. Ryan had seemed like the safe choice back then. But over time, that relationship had quietly fallen apart. Not with a dramatic argument, but with the slow realization that they were walking toward different futures. After they separated, she spent months rebuilding her life, focusing on her work and rediscovering who she really was. Yet through all those years, one memory kept returning to her mind. The unfinished moment by the river. She told me she had always wondered what I was about to say that night. And when Marcus announced his farewell party, she realized it might be the first time in years we would stand in the same room again. So she came, not just to celebrate Marcus, but to finally face the moment both of us had left unfinished. Hearing that felt like the ground beneath me shifting in the most unexpected way. All those years I believed the moment had passed forever. I believed silence had closed that chapter before it even began. But standing there in the quiet living room, surrounded by the remnants of a party that had already ended, it felt as if time had gently circled back to give us another chance. Sometimes life doesn't give us dramatic second chances. Sometimes it simply brings two people back to the same place and waits to see if they are brave enough this time. Olivia's eyes carried hope, vulnerability, and a quiet patience that told me she had spent years thinking about this moment too. And for the first time since that night by the river, the words that once disappeared finally found their way back to the surface. Before we reach the ending, I have a special request. Comment the word "second chance" below if you believe life sometimes brings people back together for a reason. Because that night taught me something I had never fully understood before. Life rarely follows the timelines we expect. Feelings can stay hidden for years, waiting quietly beneath the surface until the right moment arrives. Marcus moved to Seattle the next morning, the party decorations were thrown away, and the house returned to its normal quiet life. But something new had begun that night. Not with fireworks or dramatic confessions, but with two people finally choosing honesty over fear. And sometimes, that's exactly how the most meaningful stories begin. If this story touched your heart even a little, please like the video, share it with someone who believes in second chances, and subscribe to the channel so more people can hear stories like this. Your support helps these stories reach people who might need them the most.